Ladies and gentlemen, Rod Rosenstein is staying a little bit longer, and I believe that could be a good thing. I have no clue if it is. It could be a horrible thing. Tom Fitton could be 100% right. Tom Fitton, I defer to him in terms of just being amazing. He's a million times more knowledgeable about all of this than I am. But I'm pretty knowledgeable. And I've been published in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Daily Caller, the Federalist, most of those publications regarding the Clinton email debacle, the fact that the Mueller probe was always going to lead to nothing, and I was right about that. I was right about Clinton losing. Mueller's old boss delays departure as probe wraps up. Why do I think it could be a good thing? It might be a bad thing. See, I come at you straight. I don't say, trust this, trust that, MySpace super secret agents telling me. No. I do think it's a good thing. Why? Who is Jeffrey Rosen, the new pick for a deputy attorney general? ABC News. Trump nominates Jeffrey Rosen to replace Rod Rosenstein. ABC News. Who is Jeffrey Rosen? Law and Crime. Who is Jeffrey Rosen? PBS.org. William Barr gears up to take the reins on Mueller probe. Okay, so they already have, number one, I think this is actually a good thing because, number one, Jeffrey Rosen, a gentleman named Jeff Rosen, is already the Deputy Attorney General going in. He will be the Deputy Attorney General. So that's number one. He's already going to be the attorney. They already have a replacement for Rod Rosenstein. The Mueller report has already been rewritten. That's why the Mueller report has already been rewritten, and it's already being rewritten now. It's already been rewritten, and and it's already almost certainly been given to Trump before Congress. Three prosecutors have left the Mueller team. Do you think they're still writing the report if three prosecutors have already left, two of whom, Weissman and another prosecutor, were briefed on the Steele dossier before the election in 2016. But there's a great article. I just want to read you this. God, why don't I have this up? I should just have this up. There's a great article that talks about William Barr telling Dianne Feinstein, just explaining to her, and this is during the confirmation, he's going to rewrite the report. Once the report is rewritten, it's going to be given to the president. We found that out yesterday in reports, in news reports. But why is Rod Rosenstein still hanging on a good thing? Because when the report is finally released, we can have one element of the Sessions horrendous tragedy, 2 years of a Republican working for Democrats. We can have his deputy attorney general, the link to the Mueller probe, the guy who actually signed off on FISA warrants, the guy who said, I don't do the redacting, sir, when he was grilled by Congress, the guy who hid and schemed and tried to use the 25th Amendment against Trump with a wire. We can have that guy say, yeah, this report is fantastic. This report is fantastic. That could be one less way for media to try and rip apart or tear apart the Mueller summary, which the White House could invoke an executive privilege on. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've dealt with me for this long, I finally get to the point. He's there for public relations, I think. Tom Fitton said he's still running the department. I don't know about. I respectfully disagree. He could be right, but I respectfully disagree. I don't think William Barr would immediately defend President Trump in the Oval Office regarding the national emergency declaration. I certainly don't think Jeff Sessions would have done that. But I don't think Jeff Sessions would have, he recused himself, so he couldn't have rewritten anything. But here you go. The special counsel's regulations under which Mueller operates. Feinstein, will you provide Mueller's report to Congress, not your rewrite or a summary? This is Barr. Well, the regulations do say that Mueller is supposed to do a summary report of his prosecutive and his declination decisions, and that they will be handled as a confidential document, as are internal documents relating to any federal investigation. Now, I'm not sure, and then the Attorney General has some flexibility and discretion in terms of the Attorney General's report. My objective and goal is to get as much as I can of the information to Congress and the public. These are departmental regulations, and I'm going to be talking to Rod Rosenstein and Bob Mueller. There's probably existing thinking in the department as to how to handle this, but all I can say is at this stage, because I have no clue as to what's being planned, is that I am going to try to get the information out there consistent with these regulations, and to the extent I have discretion, I will exercise that discretion to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't speak bureaucratic nonsense, there's another word I can use that's an expletive, but I don't do profanity alerts. If you don't speak horse manure, or cow manure, or bull manure, that is another way of saying I'm gonna rewrite and summarize this Barr as the rules stand now. People should be aware of the rules. The special counsel will prepare a summary report on any prosecutive and declination decisions. In addition, the Attorney General is responsible for notifying and reporting certain information upon the conclusions of the investigation. Now, how these are going to fit together and what can be gotten out here, I have to wait, and I would have to wait. I'd want to talk to Rod Rosenstein and see what he has discussed with Mueller. Then he goes on to say in this article that he's not going to share any information. This is a lawfare article. He's not going to share information about people who were not indicted, and Trump won't be indicted. So there you go. There you go. There you go. So we can imagine Mueller's report to Barr going beyond a typical declination memorandum. Well, if you decline, look, if Mueller declines to indict Trump, which he will, because Trump, there was no evidence of anything. The whole thing was fabricated, and it was about it's nonsensical and irrational. So Rod Rosenstein is still a key player, at least in terms of image and public relations. They kind of need him there. Look, it could be a horrible thing. I'd like to see him go tomorrow. So, like I said, I'm coming at you straight. I'm not going to be like, oh, this is part of an overarching, wonderful plan that you need to believe. That, ladies and gentlemen, is done. These hoaxes, both left and right, occupy people's minds. There was never going to be any Gitmo tribunals. That's absurd. That wouldn't be, and even if it was, see, you and I might look at this as a treasonous endeavor, but treason is very specific. You take money and you give classified intelligence. You take money from an adversary or enemy and then give them something that would harm national security. That is treason. It's a very specific activity, a criminal act. And even people convicted of treason wouldn't go to Gitmo if they were American citizens. Military tribunals pertain to what happens on the battlefield. And there's a military code of justice. Nothing to do with an American citizen that's protected under the Bill of Rights. Well, that's slowly eroding, but you know what I mean. The whole thing is absurd. It's as absurd as the Steele dossier. So I'm coming at you like I would love to see Rod Rosenstein finally leave. He was an extension of Jeff Sessions, who was an extension of the Democratic Party, who was an extension of the Steele dossier, an extension of the bodily fluids that were supposed to have flowed upon Trump as he wrote a check to Russian hackers to pay for Facebook ads. This is the mindset of Democrats. But you kind of need, because what's going to take place is this. They're already, that's William Barr right now. You already have 3 top attorneys leaving. You already have 3 top attorneys or prosecutors leaving the Mueller probe. That means the probe is already written, almost certainly. That means the probe is almost certainly being rewritten and summarized by William Barr. That means that Trump already has or is about to have the report before Congress. That means Congress is going to look at this and say, how come you don't have this, and that? We have questions, and this is a big deal. And they will never admit it's nonsense. If you have Rosenstein, there could be a public relations stunt, could be, all for image, could be just, him there. Look, I don't want him there either, but the point is they already have a gentleman named Jeffrey Rosen. So there you go. 3 top attorneys have left. That I doubt the Mueller probe is still being written right now by Mueller's team because they've already indicted everybody they can indict. And William Barr, you noticed when William Barr became Attorney General, suddenly there was a push. Suddenly there was a push to get things going, to end this thing, to get the report. So he already defended Trump in front of the world regarding the National Emergency Declaration. Now, 3 prosecutors are leaving the Mueller probe. Then you have Clinton emails with Lindsey Graham in the Senate Judiciary. So there's a lot of things going on. The momentum is definitely moving towards President Trump. So, and if you ever wonder about the Steele dossier, so there's a great article really quickly regarding William Barr and the fact that he's going to rewrite William Barr's remarkable non-commitments about the Mueller report lawfare. Okay, that's an excellent article regarding that. He basically says, look, I'm not going to give you any information regarding people who weren't indicted, so you know what? You can take it where the sun don't shine. If Trump's not indicted, which he won't be, ain't going to be a lot of information about him. And the Democrats are going to lose their minds, which will be fantastic and hilarious and amusing. They've spent 2 years promoting a hoax that Clinton paid for. There's a Vanity Fair article in 2017. I believe it's Vanity Fair. Oh, yeah, that's right. How Christopher Steele compiled his amazing Trump-Russia dossier. This is hilarious. Looking back at this, it's now, no offense to the author, but it's now actually very amusing. Because even Christopher Steele's like, well, I don't really have much to do with it, which is also kind of sad and hilarious. Okay, so here are the sources. This is how we know that the Mueller probe should never have been initiated. How good were these sources? Consider what Steele would write in the memos he filed with Simpson. Source A, to use the careful nomenclature of his dossier, was, quote, a senior Russian foreign ministry figure. Oh, and by the way, guess who purchased all of this? Hillary. Did she collude with Russia? Seems to be. So it seems from this, source B was a former top-level officer still active in the Kremlin. Wow. Okay, so Mueller indicted Russian nationals. Clinton actually worked with Russian nationals by purchasing the Steele dossier. And both of these insiders, after, quote, speaking to a trusted compatriot, would claim that the Kremlin had spent years getting its hooks into Donald Trump. Really? So the money that flowed into the Clinton Foundation, and then a uranium deal that took place, where cash flowed to Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal, that's nothing? Really? That's nothing? Vladimir Putin met with Bill Clinton. Vladimir Putin actually met with Bill Clinton, everyone. This is in Newsweek and The Hill. I don't think that Putin is too afraid of the Clintons, considering that you also had William D. Campbell, an FBI informant, say that Russian lobbyists were bragging about their influence over both Clintons. I don't think that it's a big problem. The whole thing was nonsense. Source E was an ethnic Russian and, quote, close associate of Republican U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. Could you imagine if you had source A, B, and C, and D, and E who say that, Clinton transferred top secret intelligence, which actually she did. James Comey has stated that, and we know she had 22 top secret emails with special access program intelligence. But source A, B, C, and D all said that she was doing so to hide her information and to hide her quid pro quo pay-to-play schemes at the expense of having top secret intelligence outside of the U.S. government. What if there was a dossier that said that? What do you think Democrats would claim? They would claim it's nonsense. It was purchased by Trump. It's a conflict of interest. And oh my God. And crowds and Trump strike? Are you kidding me? Trump strike? There shouldn't even be a Trump strike. They purchased or they said that the RNC servers were hacked. Well, why would you trust them? It's so obvious. When all of this finally, whether it's before or after the election, Clinton will eventually get indicted. But whether it's before or after the election, Clinton's running again. Don't think that everything going down with all of these candidates that are flaming out, that are just losing steam, just, self-destructing. Don't think this isn't all by design pertaining to Clinton. She's waiting. It would be the equivalent of running a mile with people can't run a mile and just waiting about 10, 20 feet behind them. You're just waiting. Oh, there's one that's puking. Oh, there's one that stumbled. Oh, there's one that, whatever. And you're just waiting and running, and just eventually, you want me? Me? You really love me? That's what she wants. And you're going to get Vanity Fair and the New York Times and the Washington Post and everybody on the left who said, oh, I don't really like Clinton. They will all love Hillary. We love Hillary Clinton again. And if you do not vote for her, you're voting for orange, monster, mean, horrible, everything bad, and that says something about you. Therefore, you're no longer on the left. And we will treat you worse than we treated anybody in the Green Party. And they will all go into a trance. I know this. Trust me. I was on the left. I know this. Okay? On Twitter, they're still talking. They talk about me every day on Twitter. Okay? Nobody really knows who I am, but they talk about me every day on Twitter, which is fantastic. It's hilarious. Because I haven't had a Twitter account in, 4 months or so. I deleted my Twitter account, which is the best thing to do for mental health and everything. Twitter is just a left-wing echo chamber. That's it. But anyway, all of this is nonsense. I wouldn't put too much emphasis. I think it could be a good thing. I would say it's probably, William Barr saying, hey, you know what? We'll wait until the official release of the Mueller probe, of the Mueller report. Have Rod Rosenstein there saying, yeah, I agree with it. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And that's it. And then he leaves. And Jeffrey Rosen takes his place. Jeffrey Rosen's already there. So, already, picked to take his place anyway. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Share this segment everywhere. And my Patreon is below if you want to support my voice long term. Check out HA2A. That's below. Thank you.